Hi, welcome to I'd Tap That. That's right, you heard me, I'd Tap That. Now, when you're thinking I'd Tap That, you're thinking hot chick walking down the street. No, of course not. We're talking about magic.
No,
Now,
there's no chance for that happening here.
well,
Yeah.
there is. I mean, eventually we're going to get a woman on here, but she's going to have mace, pepper spray. And when I say mace, I'm not talking I'm talking douche. Anyway, guys.
Are you sure
so,
it's not a Warhammer?
It could be a Warhammer, a plus what? A plus 5? What is that? Is that
Yeah.
a plus 5 for a Warhammer?
Plus 5 Warhammer of Smiting.
Oh, no.
That can be
It could
pulled
be-
out of a pocket dimension. You gotta think anime.
And Hammer Space.
Damn it.
Anyway,
All right, so I've gathered Darren here, as well as Mike, and well, we are going to be nerding out for just a little bit. So hopefully you like what you see, and if not, channel button. So in the last year, what's your favorite set that's came out?
I really liked Theros. There was a lot of good stuff in
new
there.
one?
The one
that's Born.
before.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Now we're on Born of the Gods. From what I've seen of Born of the Gods, I am liking it thus far, but definitely liking what Theros was all
Got some
about.
pretty
but
cheap mechanics in it now.
Yeah,
Now my
yeah.
question is, do you want just favorite set or block?
Let's do favorite set, because if we're doing blocks, I mean, I'm going to have to say the whole Zendikar block. I mean, from
I would have to
Zendikar,
agree with that.
World Wake and Rise of the Eldrazi. But if we're going for just a specific set, I'm probably going to say either World Wake or Innistrad for myself. How about you?
Well, for me, that's actually kind of hard because there's a few nice ones out there. Alara was actually a fun one.
Now, Alara Reborn or Shards of Alara?
Shards.
Okay.
Shards of Alara was actually a good one. Had Mirrodin Besieged, which was a good one.
Mirrodin was good.
Rise of-
Scars of Mirrodin was good.
Yes, that was also. Rise of the Eldrazi was a good one.
Yeah. Now,
But I think actually, if I had to choose a utmost favorite, I'd have to choose Return to Ravnica.
now, why is that?
I always actually enjoyed the old Ravnica block and sets. Ravnica was actually a fun one because I've always enjoyed dual color. Green white is a good fun
Yeah, the
combination.
Celestia. Yeah.
It's a good fun color combination. But so is Boros, the red white, for
Okay.
that haste and double strike.
Right, right. For the cheap person in your life.
If you want to play that speed.
Well, okay. How about you? Okay, let's ask this. What is your favorite card in your just all-time favorite card?
I could easily answer that one real quick.
Probably for both lols and memories. Well, first of all, I guess blue is probably just straight up my favorite color because,
You would
well,
like blue.
with people is just a great pastime
Yeah.
of mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Mother,
put this
may I?
counter spell. No.
And actually, because of that, actually, probably one of my favorite cards was back in. Oh my goodness, this dates me. Would it be
Well, that'll be the only thing.
Dows?
Oh, Dows.
From God goodness, when was that from? This would have been over 10 years ago. I don't even remember what set it was from. But it was what was it? I think it was 3 blue, something like that, enchantment, and then after that, two blue for counter any red spell.
Yes.
And I had
That's
many
right.
friends who really liked playing mono red decks, and there's
Yeah,
just
Burn.
because they're bastards.
yes, and
Yes.
there's just nothing like shutting someone down so hard that they want to cry. Like there's just
Yes.
nothing like it.
Yeah, because when you're running a blue deck, you're basically being, like he said, Mother May I. They're trying to play a spell. You're like, no. Better yet, you can play an unsummon. Then they go to play it. You hit cancel. And they're like, ah. All right. So here's the question. I know everybody here has a significant other. So what does your significant other think about Magic?
It's one of those situations where it's sort of looking at it quizzically, not understanding how or why this is entertaining, but acquiescing nonetheless and being like, whatever.
But all right. So she just basically is like, "Nyeh."
Yes, but I think it brings up the important point is that we all have, as I said, our dark obsessions with, whether it be Magic, D&D, anime.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Pokemon. We've all,
You know,
Yeah,
you
we've
know,
all
So
enjoyed
it's
it.
one of those situations where when like we do, when you run around and pretend to be a vampire, I think that it's there's just only so much judgment you can level at someone else.
Right. Actually,
before
we're gonna be talking about vampires later on.
Yes.
All right. So, what does your significant other think of magic?
Much along the lines of Darren, it's one of those that bit of puzzlement. One of these things that you enjoy it, so I'll deal with it. But no on buying more packs unless you've got the money to spare.
Right. And for mine, I mean, I've tried to get my significant other in it. She's got a deck. I mean, and every time that I buy a new red card, because that's her color, she plays red, and she's like, "Oh, mine! I bought a Chandra, right? I had it in my binder for a whole 2 minutes, and I read what it did, and she goes, mine." And I was like, "But you don't play all the time." And she goes, "I don't care. I'm taking it." I mean, yeah, burn red deck.
Burn.
So,
Literally.
yeah. Now here's the thing: have you ever had your significant other play? Have you ever had to try them play, or do they just refuse?
Yeah, she played like for 5 minutes several years ago. So
One bad experience has ruined everything.
no, just more like why is this fun? But
And
Uh,
you,
She's tried it before, but it's not her thing.
right? Yeah. My significant other says, one nerdy thing a year, and that's as far as she's going. I think I'm going to work on Doctor Who next,
meh, you do what you can.
right?
Like my significant other, that's not her kind of nerdy thing. She
Right.
enjoys video games
Right.
and does some tabletop, but she's still relatively new to that.
Well, we all got to grow somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on that, we are going to switch to our next subject, guys. But before we do that, I'm going to probably go through here, and I'm going to show off a couple little clips of, some of the different card art from some of the sets. So,
Right on.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, wasn't that some good pictures though? I mean,
cool.
card art is, for lack of a better word, pretty.
Yes.
They do have some excellent artwork.
Right now, we're going to talk about Vampire the Requiem. I mean, which is, I know, something that we all have in common.
yeah. Actually, how we all met.
It
Really.
is.
Yeah, it is how we all met.
So our storyteller's the one to blame for getting us all together.
It's true.
Yeah.
And eventually, we're going to drag him kicking and screaming on here. So the duct tape is just for show.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
just for show.
Right. So what brought you guys into, Requiem? You want to take point on this one?
Sure. Mine actually goes back to Old World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade.
Now,
I
when
was
you
actually
say,
going.
hold on, when you say old world, since our viewers might not know old versus new, do you want to tell us what the difference is there?
There's actually a lot of differences in it. The systems have been changed. Old World of Darkness, there was multiple different clans.
Well, there were more. Yeah, there were.
There was more clans. They didn't have the
12. The 12 basic clans, and then there were
plus clans that were lost.
right, and then fractures and whatnot. But anyway.
But whereas with New World of Darkness, for instance, with the vampire, you have only 5 clans. A lot of the old clans are now bloodlines in the 5 clans.
Right.
Old World of Darkness, the covenants didn't exist.
Well, there were only 2 covenants: the Camarilla and Sabat.
Technically 3.
Right,
You had
yeah.
the
And
Independents.
Anarchs, yeah, that's true.
Independents, not Anarchs.
Sorry, yeah.
Anarchs was the nickname for the Bruja.
Right. Sorry, I'm not as much up on my Masquerade, which is what when
Yeah.
when he refers to Old World of Darkness, he's talking about Vampire the Masquerade versus, as Logan was saying, Vampire the Requiem, which is the new
Also
new
the different,
quote unquote
also
new
the
world.
different werewolf games, the different changeling
Apocalypse,
games, the
yeah.
different mage.
So anyway, but yeah, basically it's just different mechanics and a different setting, different flavor, different themes. The big difference is if you had to the best way I've heard it explained between old World of Darkness and New World of Darkness is essentially for the gaming systems is that the old systems everything the game world was much more defined.
Yes.
Everything was the history was very detailed, and you basically you had to decide how your character fit within
Exactly.
that universe.
Okay.
As opposed to New World of Darkness, where now
It's not so
Yeah,
defined.
you carve out.
Everything is more player defined except for certain things.
right. They want they wanted it to be more as you said
Which-
defined by the players.
Which with Requiem, overall weighing my pros and cons with them, Requiem, I like the fact that it's more player defined.
Right. Yeah.
Storyteller sets the mood, but the players are the ones who actually.
Oh yeah, we can take it to hell.
It's
and we have.
We have.
So our game, as we've taken, our game we play in the Mind's Eye Society.
Yeah.
It is a live-action role-play game.
It's second and fourth Saturday, or no, second and fourth
Sundays
of every month at the Masonic Temple here in Battle Creek.
Yep. And if we can,
Yes, 3 to 8.
yep.
Game on 3.
Anyone is free to show up and
$2 site fee.
yeah, $2 site
it's
fee.
well worth it.
Yes, and we the money not only goes to support the club, it goes to support the Masonic Temple, which very graciously allows us to play there.
Like in January, we actually had a game that a lot of the proceeds, a lot of money made went to help
A fellow player.
a
yeah,
fellow player who
who had occurred some stuff through
Some medical issues,
medical
and
issues,
we,
yeah.
and we were able to raise quite a bit of
a
money for him.
substantial amount. Yes.
So, but it also, we support a number of charities, a number of various things. So it's all, the money doesn't go into someone's pocket, you know.
No. It goes right back
No.
into stuff that we could do as a club.
Yep.
our get-togethers
Like
to do
yeah, our
socials and just hang
get-togethers
out.
to do socials. Our recruitment drives.
Yep.
Our basically when we're giving back to the community. Sometimes helping out with memberships that have lapsed.
Yeah.
One of the charities we did was actually box tops for.
Box tops for schools. Yeah.
We actually
Box
did a
tops for
charity.
education.
We did a charity to try to go and help out
animal shelter, too,
local
yeah.
animal shelters.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we do a number of these kinds of things. But moving
The
back,
fire.
The fire. So my character was for several months was Prince of the city of Battle
So
Creek.
what was your character's name?
My character's name was Edgar Woodbridge, who
Wasn't it like Duke Lord Fancy Pants?
well,
Woodbridge,
Lord Duke-
or-
Duke
Lord-
Lord Fancy Pants to
Or
some.
Lord Duke.
or Lord
Yes.
Duke Fancy. Yes.
I mean, as whatever way it worked. But things just were not going well for him in a number of arenas, namely the fact that people were trying to kill him.
Yeah, like
and-
everybody.
Yes, and well, the plot
Except
was
for 2.
well, there were a few people that understood the
Hey,
fact that
I wasn't
things
trying
were-
to kill him.
Yeah, but see, the plot came up and kicked Darren right in the nuts.
Yes.
It did, and it hurt a
It
lot.
pulled a
I
drop
went,
kick.
I went to my knees and I cried like a little girl.
Or it
So-
would be like Goldberg going and spearing him.
So wait a second. So what you're saying is when the plot dropped you to your knees, you dropped the plot to its knees?
I did. I beat it. What I did is
You
I
hit it
took
with
it,
the
brought
Mack
it down
truck.
to my level, and beat it with experience. So
You hit it with the proverbial Mack truck.
well, yes,
And then set it on fire.
which is literally I set it on fire.
Yes.
By
Which was funny.
Actually, my character, in having seen his tenure as prince not go well, decided that well, the best way to go out was on his own terms, and so he managed to kill, I believe, is some 18 vampire murder bots who were going to come and kill everyone in the city. Basically, he managed to lure them all to an empty warehouse.
Did you say
and
that
then-
you had candy or what was?
Well, I gave
Not
them the
quite
chance
all
to
of
come
them.
after me. See, I was the bait.
Well, you didn't get quite all of them.
Anyway, so but
Not to
and in
get
the
off
end,
track.
I ended up melting. My character ended up melting a warehouse, and I did not create so much as when vampires die in the game, they turn to piles of ash.
Yeah, there was no piles of
there were no
ash.
ash. The ash was vaporized. And Logan's character now has a little bit of my character inside of him. Literally.
Yeah, probably by.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds dirty.
Doesn't it?
I think
I thought you
all
were
of the,
Ventru, not Deva.
I think that's the
Oh.
problem for all of the vampires in the city right now.
What?
We all have a little bit of Woodbridge in us now.
Well, he didn't really us when he left. It was more like, no.
Breathing in
rests-
what's left of him.
He,
that's just
he
it,
rests
yes.
deep in everyone's hearts.
Yeah, and they're trying to gouge it out with a spoon.
You know,
Hey,
they're dark,
at least,
unbeating hearts.
At least a few people went and at least the city decided, the new prince decided to put up a memorial to those that have fallen
It's true.
to help the city.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Now back to Requiem at its core. There's what, five covenants and 5 clans.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, so we've got the
All the
Ventru,
all the Ventru,
the
the Maquette,
Nos, yep, the Nosferatu, the Maquette, the
Gangrel.
Dave.
Gangrel, and the Deva. Now, each one of these guys has a clan-specific thing. Ventru have Dominate, Deva have Majesty. which
Nosferatu have Nightmare.
Nosferatu has Nightmare. The Maquettes have Auspex.
A lot of
And
these.
then the Gangrel have Protean.
And each one actually has
Awesome.
a nickname.
Yeah.
Well, and
The Deva are known as the Pretties,
The Pretties,
right.
the Succubi,
the
Succubi,
Succubus,
yeah.
and the Incubus.
the
The,
Ventru.
The Ventru are the Lords of the Damned.
yes.
The Nosferatu are the Haunts.
Right. Yep. Gangrel are the Pound Puppies.
Yeah, the pound puppies. Yes.
Yes,
You know,
that's not,
Not-
the
not
actual nickname
that's
in
not
the
the
book.
actual one. What is their nickname in the book?
Savages.
Yeah,
the
the
Savages.
Savages.
All right.
And then the Maquette are the Shadows.
The Shadows.
And
Or like they're like the voyeurs because they listen to everything.
Well,
Have you
it's
noticed that?
true.
They're like Auspex.
yes, they're
Listen-
always.
listen.
And in the eyes of the Nosferatu, that's literally what the Maquette are shadows. They want to be the Nosferatu.
Burn.
Oh, sounds like penis envy somewhere.
It doesn't it?
Yes, that goes out to you, Kevin.
So
All right, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this segment, and what we're going to do is we're going to probably show some pictures of maybe some of the books or something like that.
How about the clan symbols?
Maybe the clan symbol, something like that. If you have, like I said, game is every second and fourth Sunday at the Masonic Temple here in Battle Creek, between 3 and 8, $2. Mention the show, and just be like, hey, I saw the show. I want to get in on this. And it's a lot of fun. Come in costume.
Yep.
So we're going
And
to
your
go.
costume could be
your
anywhere from
costume
what
could
we're
be-
wearing to,
something far more elaborate. Some people do that.
yeah.
Yeah, no. Just no. Anyway, all right, so we're going to go look at those. And when we get back, we're going to get back to some more serious stuff if we can.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Now, see, here's the thing. I'm not quite sure if we were able to get the symbols up with the clans, covenants, whatever. So whatever we just showed you, I hope it's really cool. And if it was disturbing images, I apologize. Not really.
Other than this disturbing image, but
Coming from this one, I don't think anything would be more disturbing than
Right.
him.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get a little personal, guys, and I'm not talking cuddle time. Quit inching in, Mike. Hang on. Don't get excited. It's okay. Ooh, there we go. Oh. Oh. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to basically get to know you guys, So, Mike, you want to start here?
Well, what do we want to
No,
know?
not your whole life story, just basically what brought you into the nerd culture, How
Actually,
long-
that started back when I was in high school. Probably about
It's usually-
94 or 95.
Yeah, it's
Had some
gateway
friends.
drug.
Mine started with anime. Had some friends who showed
Anime
me
is
an
definitely
anime
a
that I
gateway
actually
drug.
enjoyed. It was called Record of Lotus 4.
Not Bible
It-
Black?
No,
God.
mine was actually a D&D.
I'm gonna punch you really hard. In fact,
Oh.
Moving on.
It was actually called Record of Lotus 4. It
Oh,
was a
excellent.
D&D-esque anime.
Very nice.
now which one was it? Was it the OAV or
I actually
Legend
saw
of
the-
Heroic Knight?
I saw both.
I was just wondering which one you saw first, though.
Uh,
Dickings.
actually, it was the OAV.
Oh, that's it. I believe that was the one that came out first.
It was
actually,
the
so-
series. I had actually seen it on tape. A friend of mine showed me
VHS,
that, and
old
from there,
school.
and from there, I got
just
into
helped.
playing D&D. Started with, because a friend of mine actually had his dad's old first edition books. We
Sure.
started with that, then got into second edition.
So were you good, neutral, or evil?
I think I more preferred the neutral or evil characters.
Now,
'Cause it was
chaotic
always
or
seemed-
lawful?
Chaotic.
Mm.
Ugh.
Chaos over law.
Technically, chaos is law.
Depends on how far you go into it.
You confuse me.
Don't we all?
Continue.
See, chaos is law. I confuse you, I still get my turn.
I actually got out of it for a while, but then when I was going to school down at University of Kentucky, I got back into doing D&D with third edition. That's also where I had found out about Vampire the Masquerade, got into those.
Okay.
And I've been playing it off and on ever since. As for with Magic, that goes back to high school when my oldest brother and my sister came back from California and gave me a bunch of cards they had gotten over there.
Here's a question. When you're DMing and you're behind your screen, right? Do you lie about what the dice come up with just to dick your players?
No, I've actually lied. I've actually lied to go and keep my players from dying. When I've rolled nat 20s before 2-3 times in a row, I'll just give them the crit instead of the instant kill.
That's nice. I would cheat to make them die.
I've played the games.
let's be-
I've run games where I've done that.
Never let me be a DM.
Well, that's because you're a bad person.
I
so.
am, but it runs in my family.
Ah, okay.
You know, my great, whatever the hell he was a bad person. And it
Ah.
just trickles down. It's like coffee. It filters through until it gets really strong.
I've heard that you're a bad seed, so.
I am. I am. Anyway. Now, Darren,
Actually.
on to you.
Poor Darren.
Yes.
On to you.
Yes.
So when did your nerdum start?
Well, it was many, many years ago in a galaxy far, far away. So Star Wars was sort of my gateway drug initially.
It usually is.
It
Yeah,
is.
that was a gateway drug for me as well.
It started off with just essentially consuming every expanded universe novel that I could get my hands on for
Yes.
several years.
I know
and
when
I
Chewbacca
agree.
died, I was pissed.
A moon dropped on him.
he held
A
that.
moon.
I like to think that he held that moon up for just a moment. Just a moment.
For a fraction of a second.
That's what
Squish.
happened. Squish.
Anyway,
Before the planet broke apart.
I was
sad.
the first anime I ever watched was also something that I brought me into it too was Ronin Warriors several years ago when I think it was like 8 years old. It had a brief run on Fox on cartoon
remember
Saturday
that.
mornings, and I was like, "This is amazing."
I remember that when I was
You
a
broke
kid.
the book.
I did. I broke the book. I broke my book.
It's your book. So break it.
Anyway, so that's kind of how it
Thanks that he
began.
already bought it.
Yeah. So anyway, it began there. When I was in high school, I started getting into D&D and other various RPGs and stuff, and it's just sort of become a greater. It's like drugs. You just kind of you get into once you get sucked into the microcosm of nerddom, there really is no escape. You never
like,
get out.
It seems like anime and TV shows are those gateway drugs
They
for
are.
nerddom.
They are.
So what about you, Logan?
For me, I'm going to say that my anime started with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. No, you
Just
can't
please
hate them.
tell me it wasn't that travesty of a movie that they called Dragon Ball Z.
Which one? Oh, Evolution?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say on behalf of ITAP that movie is an abomination.
I
Just
agree.
saying. Ugh.
This is our official stance.
When you have
Yes.
Spike from, Angel and Buffy playing Piccolo, no. I mean, Dragon Ball Z was one of my favorites. I remember watching it on Toonami.
Yes,
When
I
Toonami
remember
was
that.
there and there was, Gundam.
Well,
you know.
Toonami is back again.
Gundam Wing?
That is not, yes, Gundam Wing, yep.
Oh man, yeah. That's,
Toonami, I have disavowed
Wing was
Toonami
awesome.
these days because it is, no.
it just wasn't what it was 10 years ago.
that's just it. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, things were a lot cooler. I mean, or
And
at
more
least
nostalgic.
we thought they were a lot cooler.
That's true.
I mean, for me, the nerd culture just exploded. You know, I mean, I remember being a little kid watching like Revenge of the Nerds and stuff. And I'm actually proud to say that that movie could not be made because nerds are everywhere now.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be like Revenge of the Jocks or something for
Yeah,
it to even be
I agree.
for it to even be somewhat imaginable. I mean, if somebody were to, you know, make that today, they'd be like, and what's so good about it?
Especially if you look at the fact that there's a show, King of the Nerds,
Right.
which is hosted by two of the people from
Yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds, Booger and
Yeah. Curtis, yeah.
It's interesting how nerd culture has sort of become mainstream.
The norm.
Yeah.
Nerd culture is the norm.
where
Now,
it used to be the nerds wouldn't get the girl. Now the nerds do get the girls.
Well, it's interesting because I remember in high school huddling over and the cafeteria, huddling over magic cards, hoping that someone wouldn't come, you know,
and throw
you
them
know,
away. Yeah.
knock them down, or you know, people making fun of you. Now it's just sort of, you know.
Yeah, now-
you young
now it's
kids
one of
don't know
those-
how good you have it.
Right. Yeah. Now it's like, you know, all right, you don't have, you know, now it's oh, you don't have, you know, a shiny, you know, Draga? What's the matter with you?
Right.
You know, you don't have, you know, all these cards. You don't have, how many planeswalkers do you got? Do you even, you know, planeswalker, bro? You know,
Do you Planeswalker, bro?
it's like, if you don't at least have one these days, people are like, why do you even play? Why do you collect? And Tybalt does count as a planeswalker. I'm telling you. Tybalt is, he's kind of that planeswalker who sits in a corner and punches himself in the face, but eventually he's got a shining moment, you know? It's few and far between, but he's got it.
But if you really want the planeswalker that's the god of the planeswalkers, you got to look at Jace.
Jace? Yes,
Especially
Jace.
the original Jace.
Oh, you mean the 110 or 100 and whatever? I mean,
The $100
foil-
something dollar
What was he at?
Jace.
Foil, like $600-700 or higher?
I'm not sure.
Got me.
I
You
don't
knew
know.
more than I would.
I mean, yeah.
He's pretty much the god of the planeswalkers.
Yeah. All right, so on this, we're going to wrap it up until next episode. Next episode, we should be having the great Tom Sullivan. You guys know who Tom Sullivan is, don't you? Tom Sullivan did a lot of the production stuff for Evil Dead 1 and 2. He actually is probably going to be bringing...
Even for Army of Darkness?
No, he didn't do Army of
Ah.
Darkness, but he's probably going to bring the Necronomicon from the stage show.
Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So there's always to look forward to that. So this has been I'd Tap That. So we tap that.